Okay. My phone just told me it's being recorded. So I hope this works. So as we just started, I'm going to get the right spot in front of me here. So as we just had pointed out, I'm not sure when everyone lost me exactly. I gave us a whole nice speech about Geros and Israel and this and that and other things. I saw some smiles and making fun of the president. So then we can maybe pick up someone from there. We started looking through the Bryce, and the Bryce spoke about the idea of how we try to reject, the game a little bit. The key part for right now, again, I'm really trying to streamline because we're running late. The key line for right now is when the Bryce speaks about when we're actually b'shas ma'isa being megayah the person, and he's going into the mikvah. He gave him the milah. He's about to go to the mikvah. There in Yavamas and Daf Mem Zayin Amid Beis, if you're looking at Tabtos, he speaks about whether or not the order of Geros matters. The Mishnah speaks of doing a milah and then a tvila, and there's a machlokas in the Rishonim between Tosis, the Ramban, and others, whether or not the order is ma'akiv. Does it have to be that first you have the milah and then you have the tvila, or could it be the opposite? Like that, the Ramban compares it to what's called a tova v'sheres biyado. How could you go to the mikveh as being a ger as you're an orel? Others say no, they're just two separate stages. The order is not so significant. Well, the Bryce presents it. Matbilan also after the milah, and then it speaks about the idea of you have shnei tamid chachamim omdim agabo. You have two tamid chachamim standing there while he's being told. Modian also mixas mitzvos kalos and mixas mitzvos chamuros. You tell him the mitzvos at that moment as he's going to the mikveh. Tova v'Allah, he goes to the mikveh, he hopefully comes up, and Harihu Kisro l'chol devarav, now he is considered a Jew l'chol devarav. Rashi points out on the spot, Modianos and Mixas Mitzvos, the hashta ayedei tvila hu nichnas l'chlal geros. This is the moment of his geros, and Hilkach b'shas tvila, b'shas tvila's mitzvah, tzarach l'kabel alav ol mitzvos. It says Rashi, the requirement of Kabbalah's ol mitzvahs has to be taking place as you're going through the Geros, and if the actual Geros is being completed through that tefillah, that's when the Kabbalah's ol mitzvahs becomes significant. The fact that you might have taught him about mitzvahs beforehand, that's important. He has to know what he's getting into, but you need to know there's a Kabbalah's ol mitzvahs bidiyuk at the time that the actual Geros is going to be taking place. That's the key part of that Bryce on Daf Mem Zayin Amud Beis. Now we have on the Marmakomas, we also noted that the Gemara has pointed in other places in Sanhedrin there, that in Yavamas there, that there are other kinds of issues when it comes to Gerim as well. I'm jumping the gun a little bit to the Gemara's on Daf Kav Daled, which we are going to come back to, but I just want to quickly note what's there. So there the Gemara speaks about. Again, the main topic is not the concept of Kabbalah's ol mitzvah, so the main topic there is the intent of the ger when it comes to be megayer. Right, so the Gemara is medayik from a Mishnah that if you have a person who is nitan ala shifcha v'nishtachor or avedas kachavim in his gaira, if you have a Jew who there were tainas against him, as Rashi says, he was chashud that he was having some kind of an illicit relationship with this shiksa, and then all of a sudden she's megayer, and it says in the Mishnah, harizer lo Yichna. So he shouldn't go and marry her after he's Megayer. And the Gemara is Medayik from that Mishnah that it sounds like the Mishnah is telling me that the Geirus is fine, it's just not so appropriate that you should marry the girl that was Megayer on your behalf. And then the Gemara says that we're a little bit bothered. Echad ish shenis gayer l'shem isha, echad ish shenis gayer l'shem ish, v'chem ish shenis gayer l'shem shulchan melachim, l'shem avdei shlomo, einam geirim, divrei Rabbi Nechemya, as Rabbi Nechemya holds, Echa Geri Arayos, Echa Geri Chalomos, Echa Geri Mordechai Ve'ester, Einam Gerim Asher Yizgairu, Bizman Hazeh. And Rabbi Nechemya has a sheet there in that Bryce, and Af Kovdala Mabez and Yavamas, that a Ger who comes, and it's pretty clear that his interest is not totally the Shem Shemayim, but he has an interest in getting married to getting to a certain woman, she has an interest in getting married to a certain man, or he sees that, wow, Shulchan Malachim, the Jews are on the top of the world, and it's like really cool to be a Jew. Or as the Gemara points out, Mordechai Esther, at the time of the story of Mordechai Esther, like it says in the end of the Megillah, Rabbim, Me'ameha, it's Mesyadim. There were a lot of people who tried to become Jewish in wake of the unbelievable miracle that took place on Purim time. Rabbi Nechemya says those people are not Gerim. Now again, we're not going to get into the Mordechai Esther part. Maybe a different Purim we can speak about that. There's a whole sugya That's here in the Rishonim. But L'maisir ben Nechemia says, if you come to be Megayer, not because you want to be a Shomer Mitzvahs, but you have some other interests. I want to get married. I want to be cool. I want to be part of those people. It has to be that you be Megayer Bizman Hazeh, which the Gemara says means like at a time when Jews are not on top of the world and not everything is so great, and we're comfortable that he or she doesn't have some form of ulterior motive. And then the Gemara though points out that there's another Shita who is said in the name of Rabbi Halacha Kedivrei HaOmer Kulam Geirim Heim. The Halacha though is like the Shita that says Kulam Geirim Heim. Any one of those circumstances that you just listed that sounds like they have somewhat questionable intentions coming to the Megayah, but Kulam Geirim Heim, that all counts as a Geirus. Why can't you marry that person? The Chatchila, why is it saying you mission not to get married to that person? So it says the Gemara, there's Lazis Svasayim. There's going to be bad rumors spread about you. You should only do things that make you beyond reproach, above any kinds of finger pointing or whispering or rumor spreading or like that. So don't marry that girl that you were having an affair with. People are saying you were doing something wrong with. But L'maisir the Geirus is a fine Geirus. Now this Gemara over here becomes very, very significant because the Gemara seems to indicate, again, we're going to have to figure out what level we're speaking about, but it does seem to be that the Gemara, again, one of the things you probably hopefully saw by this morning, there might be a machlokes in the Rishonim about, is there a machlokes in the Gemara itself? Right? Is there two separate opinions? Rabbi Nechemia says, if you're Megayer, for some ulterior motive other than pure l'shem, being Jewish as an ideal, the Geirus is just no good. And then the Gemara says, no, halacha k'divrei omer kulam geirim heim. No, we would hold that they're all geirim. It doesn't really matter what your intentions are, which might now raise the question of, like, hey, wait a second. So how far does that go? Does that mean a person who, one scenario is that they're going to keep the mitzvos? It's just that that's not what they didn't care about that so much. If in order to be able to, be part of the, that, cool group of people, marry that girl, I'm stuck with a little Shabbos and tefillin, okay, I'll wear them. I don't care about it. I don't believe in it. So on one level, it could be that we might be saying that kulam geirim, as long as they're going to do it, even if they don't actually believe in it. Or are we, in fact, going even more than that when the Gemara has the line of kulam geirim, and perhaps the Gemara is even saying that kulam geirim, meaning, it doesn't really matter so much, what they're actually going to do. They were just doing things for totally the absolute wrong reasons. Out there. Let's take the example according to one of the opinions that Gerim of Mordechai and Esther were people who didn't want to be Jewish. They just didn't want to get killed. They weren't interested in being another statistic in the end of the Megillah Esther of how many Jews were killed in Shushan on that particular day. So what the heck, excuse me, how many Goyim, how many Persians were killed in Shushan? So I'll be Megayer to avoid the whole death thing. But I wasn't necessarily interested in that Gerim. So that's going to be very and significant Gemara to us as we go along. Now, when we look through some initial Rishon, and we see some very interesting things, over here. So, for example, right, we saw that Tosfos and Daf Mem Hey Yom Beis, we learned this Tosfos last week, right, that when Tosfos discusses the din that you need a bezdin to be present for Geirus, Tosfos says the only time that the presence of the bezdin is ma'akev is for the Kabbalah's all mitzvos. Right? If you remember that teretz that was there in the Tosfos on Daf Mem Hey in Yivamis. So that sort of sounds like, maybe even like a little bit more than sort of sounds like, that the Kabbalah's all mitzvos is an absolute integral part of the Geirus, right? More than the Milah, more than the Tefillah. This is the spitz of the Geirus. Now you need the bezdin. Other times, even if you did it by yourself, not such a big deal, right? Like you went to Milo Tavla and he goes, she went to the mikvah for Anidas Milo Tavla Akira. You probably was Tavla in the mikvah as a Balkaria. That's fine. A bezdin, no, that's for Kabbalah's own mitzvahs. So that sheet in Tosfos does seem to imply very, very strongly, right, that we take the Kabbalah's own mitzvahs as an absolute when it comes to the Geirus, to the degree, right, that is the time, and that's the only time that you actually need to have the bezdin present. Interestingly enough, if you look in the Rambam, and the Rambam Shita about Kabbalah's own mitzvahs are going to be extremely confusing. Okay, by the time we're done, there's going to be a lot of questions about the Rambam, different understandings within the Rambam. This is just one of a series of many Rambams that you're going to be learning now. And the Rambam writes, Ger Shamal v'lo tava. If the ger was mal without a tefillah, tava v'lo mal, or he went to the mikveh without having a bris milah, eino ger she'imo v'yitbol. That's a basic Gemara that's pretty much agreed upon in Shas. Tzarech litbol b'fnei shlosha. Says the Rambam, the tefillah has to be in front of a bezdin of 3. So hold the hadavar tzarech bezdin ein madbin on a Shabbos v'lo b'yom tov v'lo b'layla imit belu harei zegir. Says the Rambam, right? Since the bezdin is needed by the tevilah, right? So then we would require that the tevilah can be done Shabbos, Yom Tov. Now, any of the times that a bezdin doesn't traditionally convene, you have to make sure that the tevilah for the ger is not going to be done at those times either, right? Now, the Rambam seems to be telling us, over here. The Rambam seems to be telling us over here that the main part is a little bit different than what Tosafos says. Like Tosafos says that we need a bezdin to be there for the Kabbalas or mitzvos and not for the other parts. The Rambam is saying, very differently. No, the bezdin for gerus, that's the tvila has to be in front of bezdin. The Rambam has to agree probably with one of the other terutzim in Tosafos the Rishonim about the Gemara about mila taval lenidusa that we learned last week. But one thing that you now see that we're leaving room open for in what's going to be a lot of ambiguous Rambams is that the Rambam, by not requiring a bezdin to be there for the Kabbalas or mitzvos, is leaving open the door to tell you that maybe that's not the most essential and most significant part or aspect of the gerus. You could have a gerus taking place without a bezdin to be there for the Kabbalas or mitzvahs. So now we're going to question right now, so what does that mean? Why is that true? Does that mean the Kabbalas or mitzvahs, according to the Rambam, is not really such like a key part of the gerus, or is there something else that would require our attention? So we just basically now listed off a number of, just to sort of keep attention where we're at over here. We just listed off a number of different options that are here in terms of, on a very, very superficial level, of what the role and significance of the Kabbalas or mitzvahs is. It's clear that it's supposed to take place. The Gemara speaks about it. That there's no question about. It sounds like Tosafos seems to have a strong opinion here, telling me that that's it when it comes to the gerus, the Kabbalas or mitzvahs, and that's when I have the din of a bezdin in gerus. The Rambam Shita, at least the Rambam that we just read right now over here, you don't need a bezdin for that. The bezdin has to be there for the tefillah, but it sounds like you don't really need a bezdin to witness and observe and confirm, let's say, that there was a Kabbalas or mitzvos. So we were putting a question mark. Does that mean, according to him, it's a less significant, it's a less important role in the gerus? So that we're going to leave, till we get to a little bit more of a clear understanding of where the Rambam is coming from. Lamais in our Gemara, we see two very interesting lines that come up over here. Just 1 second, I scrolled too far down on our sheet. We're gonna just quote right now from everyone did these parts, right? We're going through the sheet in the Kavetsas here. Great, okay, good enough. So the sheet that tells us like this. He brings two opinions over here. He quotes in the name of the Ritzvah. Hey, it's also in the Ritzvah, just it's too easy to pass up the back-to-back in the Shita. Od Maksha Ritzvah, Eich Madbilan also. So Ger Ba'alma B'inan Sheyodiuhu Kalas V'Chamura. So what are we doing with the Ger Katan Madbilan also? That's bezdin, but there has to be Kabbalah some mitzvahs. You have to tell him what the mitzvahs are. Modiim, right? Ad Sheyodiuhu Kalas V'Chamuras. The T-Rex, the Ritzvah answers, the mitzvah ve'eino ma'akev. Kabbalas or mitzvah. So we're going to take the word at face value right now. That's a mitzvah. You're supposed to do that, but it's not ma'akev. And since you're dealing with a kid, a child who you can't really have any significant Kabbalas or mitzvahs, being modia to him, it doesn't really matter what he thinks or what he says to us right now. So this is a whole big, you can't do the chatchila situation anyway, because that can happen. So says the Ritzvah, we fall back on the base halacha that says that the Kabbalas or mitzvahs is not really ma'akiv. Now, that sounds like a very extreme kind of a thing to say. You can have a gerus, right? The simple but superficial reading of the Ritva right now. I can have a gerus, but there was no Kabbalah or mitzvot. But the ger is a ger. That's fine. Right? We're good with that, right? Which sounds like a little bit extreme, but he seems to say that, right? The Kabbalah and mitzvot is not the most important part that's there. The Shita goes on and quotes the Shita Yeshana. Ger Katan v'chulei. Therefore, Gavdasar Kabbalah, even though there has to be a Kabbalah or mitzvot, Hanimili heicha de efshar. And that's when it's possible to do. But by Katan, lo efshar. But by a Katan, it's not really possible to do a Kabbalah. So he's a Katan, he's not a Bardeya. It doesn't really matter what he's going to say or not. So you can't. And then he adds an afkamina the inaga b'yayin lo b'yayin nesech. And the nafkamina of his gerus, if he coming back again, there's yayin nesech to haunt us. The nafkamina is if he touches the wine, it's not yayin nesech. Now that's a very important line for us over here. The Shita Yeshana tells us, or he asks the same question, what about the Kabbalah or mitzvos? All right, now let's try to be careful in the dayik over here when we read the Shita Mekubetzes. He says, yes, when it's efshar to do, you have to do it. The katan, you can't. Just lay out the point. The katan, you can't. It's bilti efshari. It's not possible. And nafkamina, inaga b'yayin, lo b'yayin nesech. So the one way to have read that Shita Yeshana, which we're going to see in a second, or we're going to suggest is the incorrect way of looking at it, is that the Shita Yeshana is telling us essentially the same thing as the Ritva. If you can do Kabbalah or mitzvahs, great. If you can't, okay, it's fine, you can't. Right? And then he's adding a random halacha about the Ger Katan, which is that if he touches yayin, it's low heavy yayin nesech. Right? So there's two parts. There's Kabbalah or mitzvahs is not, if you can't do it, you can't do it. Right? And then there's this, but if we're Megayer him, now he doesn't make yayin nesech. So we had a whole discussion, right? If you remember back in the day, in Rashi, right? Why did Rashi bring it in? We were suggesting that Rashi was telling us that it might only be a gerus on a D'Rabbanan level, etc. We had a discussion, or Lemafreya, that's the one thing that lasts, even if he is choser. We had a discussion in Rashi. Here we're going to see that Shita Yeshana is very clearly saying something else. The Pashup Shad is like this. The Ritva tells us that the Kabbalah or mitzvos is not ma'akiv. Okay? Not ma'akiv means, is that it's never ma'akiv. In any gerus out there, even when dealing with a ger who's a gadol, if you don't have Kabbalah or mitzvos, that's okay. That can work. In fact, without reading it inside right this second, but there's a Ritva on Shabbos and Samach Chesam and Aleph, where the Gemara speaks about a phenomenon that we've all heard the words, but it's actually a concept in the Gemara there. The Gemara speaks about something called a tinok shenishba, a tinok shenishba bein ha'akum, a tinok who was taken captive, a Jewish child taken captive by the non-Jews. Again, they always refer back to Tarzan. If you remember, like a little baby, you know what Tarzan was, right? So if you have a little baby who grew up in the jungle with the apes, he can grow up thinking he's an ape. If you have a little baby who was taken captive by the Homo sapiens, by the Umos Ha'olam of the world, he can grow up thinking he's a guy. He has no concept that he's a Jew, doesn't know what Yiddishkeit is, etc. And the Gemara there, I saw nafkamid in terms of how many carbon chatos would he have to bring in terms of Chilo Shabbos when he found later in life when he finds out he was Jewish and now is trying to become a Shomer Mitzvos again. So how does he atone for some of the things that he didn't do back then? The Gemara is a very lenient approach in terms of, again, based on Psukim, but in terms of the Chiyuvei Karbanos of the Tinok Shenishba. So the Ritva gives an example there on Shabbos Samaches of a Tinok Shenishba. One of the examples that he brings is that if you had a Ger Katan, I was going to read the line over here. 1 second, the Ritva. Gershon is Gaya ben Agon Perish Akiba Allah Bifnei Shlosha ben is Gaya Bifneihem Shalohu Diu Mitzvah Shabbos Shein Zem Akiv. You can have a situation, the Ritva, quoting one of the lines in the Gemara there, of a Ger who's Megayer, and he was a non-Jew, he was Megayer, and still, even after the Gerus doesn't know anything about the mitzvos, because as the Ritva says, Ein Zem Akiv. You're supposed to tell him, but it's not Ma'akiv. So what would happen if you had such a Ger, and he would have never known anything about all of the mitzvahs, all the chiyuvim that he has. It's very clear in that Ritva. Again, we're going to read the start to finish later on because we're almost done right now. I don't want to take too much of lunch away, too much, not maybe take a little bit, not too much. But the Ritva is very clear that even by a gadol, even by an adult, if you don't have kabbalas or mitzvahs, it's not ma'akiv. The gerus can be a good gerus. When we look back at the Shita Yeshana that we read, he doesn't say that. Kabbalas or mitzvahs you have to do when it's efshar, when it's possible to do. Right? If it's possible to do, it's totally ma'akiv. Right? You can't have a gerus without kabbalas or mitzvahs. When you have a katan, okay, and the katan's in a position right now where he can't be makabel or mitzvahs upon himself, so we're magayer the katan, but here's the key line in the Shita Yeshana. We're magayer the katan because it's not possible otherwise, but we don't really treat the katan as being 100% Jewish at that point. Why? Because he hasn't really gone through the entire gerus. Now, when he becomes an adult and his Kabbalah is now meaningful, because he's an adult, he's a bardas, right? He has das now. So now we require that katan. That's part of the line of not making a macha. Right? And if he doesn't make a macha and he goes along with it, that can suffice his kabbalas or mitzvahs because now it's efshar. So now you need it in order for the gerus to be good. Says the Shita Yeshana, the only nafkamina of that person's gerus when he was a child is what? That the wine is not yayin nesach. Legabi that din derabanan. Legabi that derabanan. Legabi that din derabanan. We're going to say, you know what? So the yayin is not yayin nesach. But what's key according to the Shita Yeshana, it seems like he's not really a ger, until. Excuse me, not really a ger until he's actually able to do a real bona fide kabbalas ol mitzvahs. Okay, so let's just quickly chaz what we just did. The Ritva says something that is very questionable to us. It's very surprising, shocking, I would even say, right? You know what? The Ger Katan's gerus is good, even though he's a katan and it can't be, and there's no kabbalas ol mitzvahs, because you don't have to have that when you do gerus. Whoa, that sounds crazy, right? You don't have to have kabbalas ol mitzvahs. That is striking and shocking. But that's what he says over here. We're going to be ma'ayin what that means. Could that possibly be true, that you can have a gerus without being makabel? The Ritva says yes, but we have to understand what exactly he's referring to, what that means. Shita Yeshana says the Ger Katan is a gerus because even though he can't be makabel mitzvahs now, but you're going to have to wait. So the lack of ability to be makabel mitzvahs means that his gerus is actually not going to be fully effective until he becomes a gadol, and then he's a ger l'chol davar, right? But at this particular point, the only nafkamin of his gerus is the wine. Let's remember that Tosas very clearly didn't agree with that. Remember the Tosas that we learned, which says it's a gerus that's derabanan, but they're oka davar min haTorah, and they allowed him to marry a Jew, and so on and so forth. They were oka davar min haTorah. Okay, but we have to see in general, we don't really know what Tosas' opinion about the kabbalas or mitzvahs is 100%. So we're gonna have to get to that. Okay, so let's take a look very quickly here at some of the other things that we have on our paper, and then we'll be at a decent stopping point for to be able to continue and hopefully finish up tomorrow. So we referred to the Gemara on Daf Kavdad and Yevamos about the Gerim coming to the Megayer with less than good intentions. Right? They want to be Megayer to avoid getting killed in Shushan Abira, the Mordechai Esther time. They want to be Megayer just to get married to some nice Jewish boy, a nice Jewish girl. That they want to be Megayer. No, it sounds like again, Pashup Shad. No interest in the Judaism part. They just want to get married, and the annoying grandparents, the annoying in-laws, are not letting you marry their daughter because they're not Jewish. Okay, fine. I'll do the gerus. And we know that these are ma'asim b'chol yom, throughout United American history and other places. This is happening left and right, different times in history. The Gemara then has the beer. I mean, Chemni says doesn't count, and then the Gemara quotes the Brayta. The halacha is that the kulam gerim him. So I want to just let's note it together a machlokas in the Rishon about that Gemara, again, just to line up all the different ideas. that we need to be aware of over here. The Ritva in that Gemara points, and the Ritva you have on the sheet in front of you. Halacha kulam gerim heim. I'll just read from your sheet over here 1 second. Perish, the Gemara Gamir Le Rabbanan Pligi Al Rabbi Nechemia. Says the Ritva, we have a Masorah, that we just know, Gemara Gemirilan, there's a Masorah that there's a Shita of the Rabbanan that argue on Rabbi Nechemia. In other words, we have Rabbi Nechemia said something, the Gemara is now bringing in, like pulling out of left field, but the halakha is like the other, what other opinion? We just know there is an opinion that says that that we argue on that Rabbi Nechemia, and there actually are Gerim, even though they have totally wrong intentions. And this Mishnah that's saying that it's a Geirus, but you just shouldn't marry her, is going like that opinion of the Rabbanan. Okay. The Dvar continues, and he says like this. So it's a very, very important line. When the Geir was Megayer, and they said, okay, converting, Chazakahu, Dayagav Onsayu, Gamru V'Kiblu. There's a Chazaka, the Ritva says, okay, and we're going to have to figure these ideas out. A Chazaka, we can assume that Agav Unsayu, that along with the onus, whatever was making them want to be Jewish, they really fell in love with that particular girl. Okay, I want to marry that girl. Okay, I want to marry that guy. I really don't want to get killed in the times of Shushan Abir. I'm going to be Gerei, Mordechai, Esther. The example, Gerei Arayos. There are lions about to consume me, and I say, you know what, God, if there is such a God, I'm being Jewish, and be one of your chosen people, save me from the lions. Okay, we assume that along with that onus that compelled them to take the step to convert, Gamru V'Kiblu, they must have actually decided to be Makabil the mitzvahs. Afagav the Machmas onus Teirus, Aliba the Rabbanan. Even though what made them take the first step was some form of an onus, was some form of compelling, pressing issue that they had, but we assume, right, the Ritva says that they probably really mean to be Gerim. They probably really were Makabel. Okay? So the Ritva says something, again, ambiguous here. Right? He doesn't address, to make it clear what's not clear, he doesn't address what these people are actually doing in practice. Are they Shomer Shabbos? Are they wearing tefillin? Are they, doing this, that? The next thing, he didn't talk about that. What he did say is, we assume that even though, like, what they said was that I only want to become Jewish because I want to marry her, Shandi, over there. That's what I want to be Jewish. But we assume that, Shandi was a good enough prospect that they probably were Makabel to be Megayer as well. Now, are we all familiar with that expression, that Agav Unsayu Gamru V'Kiblu? Especially guys from May who learned Kiddush in their Beis in the Beis last year. Famous Rashba, they quote the Gemara Baba Basra. They might have even asked you about. No, maybe okay. I don't want to get Chaim all nervous at the whole Bechina thing again. But so let's go back. The Gemara Baba Basra had a din. I say we just popped in with a thumbs up over there. That we discussed this going before. Telu v'zavin. If I hang you from a tree, okay, I basically threaten you. I hang you from a tree, and I say I'm only going to let you down if you sell me your car. And the guy is going to be hung from a tree. So fine, take my car, but get me off the tree. Okay? So the Gemara says, Telu v'zavin. If you hang a guy up and make him sell something to you, you force him to sell, Zvina, that sale is a good sale. Why? That's the line the Ritva says, Agav Unsayu, because of the onus, he only said, I'll sell you the car because he was stuck on a tree. But when he said, I'll sell you the car, he meant, like, I'll sell you the car. That's called a real decision to sell, and the sale is going to work. There was a discussion, can you do that by Kiddushin or not? If you remember the Kiddushin guys from last year, that's why the Gemara has a Havamina, that Kiddushin can be Bal Karcha, says the Rashi. It doesn't mean really Bal Karcha. It means that you can force her into agreeing to marry you, and there's a Kamash Malad, even that doesn't work by Kiddushin. So the Ritva says something very, very interesting over here. Agav the onus, right? Once we know that they were really, really wanted to convert because there was some total ulterior motive, but they probably also, like, were makabel to be Jewish, to makabel to be mitzvahs. Gamu v'kibul. Now, the application of that svara is very, very strange, right? When it comes to Agav and Ones, I sold you something. Lamaisa, I sold it to you. The car is yours. You're driving over the car, and the Gemara is saying it's not stealing the car when I drive over it because he agreed, and fine. Here, when it comes to Kabbalah's own mitzvos, right, we would have assumed that in order for the Kabbalah to be a real Kabbalah, it has to be followed up by action. They have to live in a lifestyle that shows that they're actually observing the mitzvos. Right? So the idea of, yeah, but you really want to marry the girl, so you said you want to be Jewish, so you probably said you want to be Jewish. That's a little interesting what exactly the mitzvah means by that line. Okay? We're not explaining that right this second, but we're pointing out right now that's a definite question that's going to have to be addressed. What is that concept? We're going to just very quickly, then we're done, but without really looking at the Mordechai, but just very, very quickly to look at a line in the Mordechai. The Mordechai says that when the Gemara says Kulam Geirim Gemurim, that they're all Geirim, even all these people become Megayer for bad reasons. Yeshlomer la'achrei kein kishanu roam shemiyashim darcheihim. Says the Mordechai, that's only true if we see that they're walking in a yashar derech, if they're actually observing mitzvot. Even though lechatchila, when they showed up at our door, they were only coming to be megal because they wanted to get married to a girl. Okay, that wasn't so great, right? But if we see that lamaisa, that they're actually showing mitzvot, fine, that could possibly work. Okay, so what the Mordechai is learning in that Gemara is that nobody is saying that they can be Megayer if they're Megayer for like just dumb reasons and don't even care about Yiddishkeit. That the Geirus can only possibly work if we see with our own two eyes that they're actually in practice. Right? They don't just give lip service, but in practice they actually are shomei mitzvot. So kulam geirim, the origins of the geirus, what were dubious, that's okay. Lamais, you see they did it, so that's going to be good enough. It sounds, the pashas is that the mitzvah we just read doesn't really agree with that. The mitzvah did not say that we have to see that they're fully shomei mitzvot the way the Mordechai does. So that we're going to now point out that that machlokas there. But once again, a question, because now the Ritva is going to have one big sheet here throughout Shas about the significance of the Kabbalah's own mitzvahs. Our Gemara we saw in the Gemara in Shabbos of Samaches, we saw the Ritva having a line that it's not so ma'akeh. So that seems to pop up again, and that's Sugi Nivamas Daf Kavdala about the people getting the Megayer just to marry the Jew. On the Mordechai, we are taking a different stance where he says there's no such thing as that you can't be Megayer without Kabbalah's mitzvahs. Nobody says that. So even the man of Kulam Geirim doesn't think that you're Megayer just for the girl and I'm not interested in being Jewish. We got to see that you're living your life as a Jew, and then the Geirus would be able to count, because that Kabbalah's own mitzvahs is in fact a central part of the Geirus, even according to this lenient shita that says Kulam Geirim. That just means we have the ability to overlook the roots and the ultimate motivation of where the Geirus came from. Okay, we didn't get very far today, but we actually the iceberg a little bit in terms of laying out some of the ideas and the questions about how the Geirus works. So there's a lot more Be'ez Hashem that we're going to be doing tomorrow. I apologize for all the confusion before, and at least now we know about a different way of doing this if need be tomorrow. Let me go stretch my arm over here because it's like hurts the cell phone here for so long. But on Yirtzeh Hashem tomorrow we will pick up with another great sugya. Shkarach to all.